Yeah. All right. So welcome to the podcast, Expert Timing.
Thank you.
Who do we have from the band here today?
It's me, Katrina, the bass player and singer.
And I'm Jeff. I'm also the singer and guitar player in this band.
So Katrina and Jeff, thanks for being here. How's your day going? How is it? Y'all are in Florida, right?
Yeah.
We're in Orlando. It's a pretty nice day here today.
It's a hot summer Florida
summer
day,
yeah.
as one might expect. But it's very sunny out. It's nice. We're just having a pretty chill day, actually. It's nice.
Good. I'm glad to hear. It is very cloudy here in Michigan right now. I bet you're a little envious of that.
When does it start getting like colder temperatures? Like, is it like now in September that it really starts kind of making the...
Yeah, it was like last week it started.
Really?
But it starts to just drop. It starts by being like really cold in the mornings and cold at night and then still like hot in the day.
Oh, yeah.
But then the day starts cooling off progressively through September.
Wow.
I grew up in Pennsylvania, so I can relate to that. I feel like that's kind of how Pennsylvania was too.
Yeah, so the Midwest experience.
Yeah. Ish.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, how's your day going?
My day's going pretty good. Woke up, spent some time with my partner, went and dropped them off. I dropped them off so they could walk to work. It was a very odd situation, but they really enjoy walking and being able to listen to music, especially before starting their workday.
Oh, that's nice.
They actually hate getting driven to work, so it kind of worked out that I was able to just drop them off at their aunt's house, and they walked from their aunt's to work.
That's cool. I kind of like
in time for the podcast.
The routine of that, and it's, I could see how that could get you in like a good mental space before you have to start like a long work day.
It was nice. It was a very equitable situation because I was like, well, this way I can start the podcast soon enough that, because I know that there's both of you. I knew there was going to at least be two people, so it takes a little bit longer, and I wanted to make sure I had enough time for the podcast. It all worked out.
Cool.
Everybody got what they wanted.
Good. Yeah, I guess with us it's true. You're always getting at least two, because I'm not, we live together, so it's you're not going to be like shutting Jeff out in another room while I'm secretly recording.
I can go in another room if you need
Get out of
me
here,
to.
Jeff.
That's fine.
This is my episode.
I already mentioned y'all being in Florida, but where are the both of you from?
I grew up in Texas, of all places. Dallas, like a little suburb of Dallas called Richardson. So yeah, that was interesting. I still visit Texas occasionally because my brother and his family live in Austin, but not a place I would live again.
And I'm from Allentown, Pennsylvania, so I spent the first 25 years of my life in northeastern PA.
All right. And how'd y'all end up in Orlando?
So we met. I had moved to Orlando when I was like 18 or so. I was a ballet dancer, so I had joined a ballet company here, and then eventually ended up quitting. It was a whole thing in my life, but I met Jeff when he was on tour with his band at the time, and I had just started to go to shows and figure out all of that. And so once we met, we kind of dated long distance for a year, and then I moved up to Pennsylvania, and then we ended up getting married up there, and then we were trying to find jobs and figure out our life. And by then my family, my mom and grandmother and stuff, had moved to Orlando from Texas. So we were like, well, there's, not a lot to do in Allentown. It's either move to Philly or New York to find some sort of job. So instead of that, let's just move to Florida and, be around my grandmother and stuff. So that's what we did. I think it was the right call, though. I do like it here.
Yeah, we've been here since 2008.
Yeah, so now we've been here.
I feel like we lived in Florida forever at this
point. Never
point.
Floridians. It's weird.
Yeah, no, you're full-blown Floridians now at this point.
At this point, definitely.
Especially because this is a place where people move to. Yeah. So there's always new people around at all times.
There's a big connection between the Northeast, especially Pennsylvania, to
and New York.
Yeah, New York to Florida,
a lot
and Orlando.
Of people who move here.
Yeah, so you still meet a lot of people from up north.
But the opposite of that is a lot of people come here for a while and then end up moving back to New York or like moving to Chicago. We've had a lot of friends just
Yeah.
like,
There was a big exodus of friends moving to Chicago, which I get because Chicago's a really cool
Oh.
place.
But that's sad.
Yeah, I know. And it's like all these Floridians going to cold places. Like our drummer, he just moved to Ohio. And yeah,
Really?
he was, born and raised in Florida. So now he's going to,
Ohio of all
he's
places.
going to have to wear shoes other than flip-flops for the first time in his life.
Yeah. It's not going to be like the first time he'll see snow, but it'll be the first time he has to deal with snow for a long time.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this winter's going to be, we wish you
We wish
very
you
much luck,
luck,
O'Brien.
O'Brien.
Yeah, because I'm just right above there. It's gonna be tough,
Yeah.
but
I hope he gets
I'll make it through.
a good winter coat.
Maybe I have family down in Florida, so maybe I'll just like sneak away for the winter.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I
Yeah,
highly
if I
recommend
financially
it.
could do that, I would.
Yeah, winter here is beautiful.
Yeah, I've visited my family like around Christmas time, and it's like really nice to be in Florida in the winter. So, good plan staying in Orlando.
Yeah.
What part of Florida are they?
They are in Baker County.
Oh,
So it's like outside of Jacksonville. It's the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
cool. It's like almost Georgia.
Yeah, it's North Florida. Yeah.
It's cool.
How long have y'all been making music as Expert Timing?
So we started expert timing in 2016. We
6 years now, yeah.
Yeah, so 6 years. Katrina and I had been in another band with our friend Victor, where I had played drums, and it was Katrina's first time playing bass in a band, and so we kind of learned drums and bass together
That
for this
probably
band called.
lasted a year.
Yeah, and so the singer moved away, and we got offered a show for Living Decent, and it was with was it Dikembe and Slingshot Dakota.
Yeah.
And we were like, let's just start a new band just like really fast.
To play the show.
To play the
Yeah,
show.
So we just wrote
That's
5
fucking dope.
Yeah, we wrote 5 songs and we were like, okay, expert timing. That's what we're doing.
That's so fucking cool. Yeah, that's a good reason. The Kempe is the reson I know about
Oh,
it.
cool.
Oh, awesome.
Because I had found out about them like back in Tumblr days, like long ago.
Yes.
Like 2013, like when they were starting.
Yeah.
I want to say.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they plugged y'all on Twitter, and I was like, well, okay. And then I heard y'all on the Death Protector mixtape.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Death Protector, yeah.
Yeah, Dikembe.
And that was.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say,
Please.
Dikembe really kind of, especially in the beginning, I mean, really took us under their wing a bit and helped us out. And, like, they had no reason to. They just, like, heard us and thought, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, it's actually that
sounded
same
like-
show was when we had played with Living Decent, had played with Dikembe once or twice, but we didn't really like get too much time to hang with them.
Yeah.
But at that show, we played as Expert Timing for the first time. It was a really interesting show actually, because it was like the after show.
Oh, right. Into It Over It was playing next door.
Yeah, the club next door, Into It Over It, and The World Is were playing a show, and the deal was if you go to the bar next door, there'd be this after show where Slingshot Dakota and Dikembe were playing, and we were opening that show. But Steven from Dikembe was actually sick, so like Evan Weiss from
That's
Into It
right.
Over It like sang a couple Dikembe songs with him.
We were like, this is the craziest show. What is happening? It was really cool, though. And, like, that was a good window for us to see kind of the community that they had around them, like all of that stuff. And they kind of, was a jump start in them sort of welcoming us into kind of the beginning circles of that, which is really cool. And, like, I mean, Randy especially has been so helpful, like, from the beginning would help us with contacts or, like, just sharing information, and he's a wealth of information on stuff, obviously. And even like with my artwork, like Randy has been super supportive, like just like the type of person he is. So it's really been good. I'm glad we have those friendships.
That's like the most DIY. That's so DIY to get in basically by being such a good performance. Someone wants to be like, all right, this is
Yeah, it's
like to get backed like that.
yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, it was really nice and unexpected.
Sure.
And they definitely gave us like a little kickstart to our band by like offering to put out our like first EP. So basically, Dikembe had like kind of decided they were going to go full DIY for their own music.
Music, yeah, that's what Death Protector Collective kind of how that was born.
So they released Hail Something by themselves as a 3-piece.
And then they've kind of released a few things of friends bands, and we were maybe even the first one of those.
Oh, we are. And
Yeah.
I think they only ever put out 2 things. And
Yeah.
it was our
Virginity
thing,
and-
the
yeah.
split, and then Virginity.
Yeah, so I mean, that was pretty neat that they
Yeah.
believed in us
Yes.
enough to even, put some of their own, hard-earned money into putting out some of our music.
And that's just like a cool little piece of DIY history as well. Especially like the Florida scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the same reason why I know Virginity is Dikembe. Is like,
Yeah, the Florida scene is pretty tight. Like, it's a big state, but like, I don't know, it feels just like kind of one collective community where we know, several of the bands from South Florida or, Glaze from Jacksonville and like, a lot of the bands from the different kind of scenes.
Yeah, the history of like Florida, like punk and hardcore bands, like over the years since the 90s, like they've had a really cool scene down here, and that's a credit to all the people at like the fest. Also, they really do an amazing job of like curating like local bands and giving them like options on how to get out of your town. Really, like
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Fest is definitely like one of the biggest DIY things in like my opinion of like community building. But especially to see them like bring all these locals in, like of course it's gonna let people from all around the state hear each other's bands too and know who to play with and create a bigger community.
Yeah, definitely. Because, I mean, Florida is tricky where sometimes a lot of touring bands don't necessarily come down here. It can be out of the way for certain routes. So it's good that, like, Fest provides this big opportunity for them to, like, come to Florida and see, like, all the amazing musicians and bands that are here. And then we also get to meet, like, a lot of other bands from outside of our little sphere. So it's a great way to just kind of make friends and make, band connections, and it's a blessing that we have it here.
Big shout out to Fest.
Always, always and forever.
Always.
Best forever.
I tried not to look at the lineup this year until I was telling somebody about Fest. I was just like, oh, you don't know about like what this is because I just like mentioned it. And I was like, oh, well, let's look at the lineup this year. And I was like, holy shit. It just, like, every year I look at the Fest lineup, and that's my same response, though, is because it's always just, like, stacked. And it's always,
Yeah.
if I was like, I'm going to go, I would have to miss some bands. Like, that's how it is.
And, like, the thing that's so amazing, too, is even despite, like, all the headliners and, like, the huge names that like, even if you were, like, not into any of those, like, if you go to Fest, you will like discover a band that you love. You will be walking by a bar, you will hear some set playing and be like, who is this? This sounds amazing. And you'll walk in and discover some random band you never would have heard about, and now they're your new favorite band. Like, that's my favorite part.
Hell yeah. So a little bit about just the band in general is, where did the name specifically Expert Timing come from? Was it more fitting to the situation?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, because we were kind of just like when we got offered that show, that our first show as a band, we were just like, this is like expert fucking timing because
Of course.
like we don't have a band right now.
Yeah.
But then that just kind of became the name of the project, and it stuck.
Yeah, and also just kind of the ethos of like, we're in the present. The time is now. If you wait for the right time, you may never find it. So expert timing is now. We're just going to do it and figure it out as we go.
So Expert Timing has a record coming out the end of the month. That is it's on the 30th, right?
It's on the 23rd.
23rd? Oh, shit. I got to edit this episode fast.
Oh, yeah.
All right, cool. So happy Monday. Expert Timing has a record coming out on the 23rd. It is 11 tracks. So we're going to break down each track. Does that sound good with y'all?
Yeah, let's do it.
First, just tell me a little bit about stargazing as a whole. Who did the art and was it coming out on?
The art was done by me. I'm an
Hell yeah.
I'm an illustrator as my profession, so I do pretty much all the art for our band. So this was, whenever it comes time to do art for a record, it's like, it's so like, it just takes me forever because I want to like come up with just the right idea. Like, and sometimes I just make so many drafts and I'm like, nope, I hate it. And then I finally end on something that I really love. So luckily that's happened with this, and it kind of evolved into this whole theme of stargazing, which just fits with all the songs. And I'm really kind of happy how it all came together. And it's coming out on Count Your Lucky Stars Records, which, also fits perfectly.
Count Your Lucky Stars, Michigan. I don't think they're a Michigan label anymore. I do believe they were a Michigan label when they were founded, though.
They still live in it's Keith and his wife run Count Your Lucky Stars out of Michigan.
Oh, still in Michigan.
Yeah, still there. But yeah, that was kind of a weird chance encounter that was started by because of Twitter, like Jeff tweeting out something like random. And
Oh, yeah. So
how this podcast episode happened?
exactly the same way.
Yeah.
Except the tweet I tweeted was like, we were just had finished recording whatever or like EP from 2020. And I said like, hey, who wants to like put out our EP without hearing it? Like just like something dumb like that. And then it was up for 30 seconds and I deleted it because I was like, that wasn't a good tweet. And then Keith on the Count Your Lucky Stars, like Twitter tweeted back like, hey, where did your tweet go? Like, I want to talk to you. We were like, oh.
we're like, what?
We're like, really? Okay. But yeah, that's how we connected with Keith. I think Keith was familiar with us through Dikembe.
Sure. And then we put out that EP and then decided to put out a whole record.
Yeah.
That is just miraculous. Expert timing yet again.
I know,
because
right?
That means that Keith had to have not refreshed their timeline.
Yeah,
Correct.
those 30 seconds or however very little bit of time that tweet was up, and just
It's just like
you never know.
Yeah.
miraculous.
So yeah, be annoying on the internet. That's the
Miraculous.
lesson.
Be annoying on the internet.
Yeah, it pays off.
Yeah. Well, you've gotten very tactful at being, quote unquote, annoying on the internet.
That's like Jeff's sense of humor. It just like works for him.
It's really just like you're really putting your personality into it. We're sidetracking and it's fine. But you really put your personality into your tweets. So it's not just like another promo tweet. It's like, this is goofy. Like, it's worth a like. And I'm going to definitely go stream that song now. You just reminded me it's out. I'm going to listen to that for sure.
That's cool. I'm glad it comes off that way. I feel like it could go either way,
If people don't dig it, then like they probably won't dig. You don't need them to dig your band. Maybe they will.
Yeah.
Would have loved your band, but you don't need them. You need people that get you.
Thank you. I feel that.
You feel validated?
Yes,
with
this
all
is
your
amazing.
Annoying tweets.
It's coming out the end of the week. Well, not the end of the week, Friday. What would you say? Let's start just before we break into the tracks. Sorry, I'm leading into stuff. I usually record at night, and I have prepared for the episode all day, and now it's like, well, I didn't mentally prepare as well. Shit.
No, we can roll with you.
What
It's
would you
totally
say-
cool.
Cool. Let's just say 3 influences to stargazing sonically. Like, what if just pick? It doesn't have to be just the big 3. It doesn't have to be the only 3. You know.
Yeah, it's so difficult because we really are influenced by like so much music we listen to, and even like our peers that are putting out records. Like we'll hear something and be like, "Damn, this is so good." But I guess like the Beths is a big band for us that sonically, lyrically, pretty much the whole package we just love. I feel like they don't have a single song that's a dud. Every song is amazing. The layers are lush. Like they're a big band for us. Another one would be Sidekicks. Like that's a band that we feel like should be like one of the biggest bands in the world because they're just so good and their songs are amazing. And that's like some of their records we've listened to like in the car over and over again.
Yeah, and then like the third one, I guess we would say Lees of Memory, which is basically Super Drag, but they made a shoegaze band, and like for guitar tones is super influential for us.
Just like
especially
really
lately.
cool, kind of crunchy, but like just amazing big guitars.
Which the album is full of them. That was one thing when I was listening through. I was like, the guitar tones are chef's kiss.
Hell yeah.
That's something I've always loved about Expert Timing, is the guitar tone.
Oh.
Is
You can't see it, but Jeff is like literally glowing.
And on this record we recorded Stargazing with our friend and producer Kyle Hoffer, and like we got to just hang out and do guitars. He has an old I'm gonna gear talk for a second, but like a 1980s like Marshall JMP amp and a million pedals. So we were just doing a lot of pedal board bullshit for
pedalboard bullshit.
Yeah, just like for hours at a time recording guitars. So I'm glad that came through.
And Kyle's taste, I feel like, just was such a good match with ours, and we really could trust him to just like really take our ideas and just elevate them even more.
Yeah, and so back to the guitar tone really quick is, and also like Dikembe backing you is, and so many other bands just like seeing y'all and being like, this band's the shit, like check out Expert Timing, is probably because of your dedication to guitar tone, because that's what makes a band's band too, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
When you not only have the things that the average listener likes, catchy hooks, good riffs, but like the tones and things like that, that's what gets like other musicians to be like, no, this band right here, yeah.
No, you're correct, because I feel that too when I'm listening to a band and their guitars sound amazing. It's like, oh yes. Or like the drum, like a big thing for me also is like the way the drummer plays. Like if the drummer is killing it, the band is killing it. So I think that way about like Mannequin Pussy is such a good band, and their drummer just destroys it. Like it's so cool.
I would say that is how my band got through our brief stint. Was my drummer she was just doing some wild mathy shit all the time, and so people loved us.
That's all.
It was because of her. I had hooks, and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I said people loved us. We weren't like big, but this podcast isn't about me.
What was your band called?
So,
just real quick, just for a side note.
We were called Dead Fox.
Dead Fox.
There's nothing really on the internet besides on my SoundCloud.
Cool.
I have like a Lucy, but yeah.
Oh hell yeah!
It was named after the Courtney Barnett song.
Oh, cool. Love Courtney Barnett.
Yeah.
But back into Stargazing, 3 influences lyrically.
Okay, one I definitely know right off the bat. Kevin Devine, specifically like Between the Concrete and the Clouds was the first song of his that I ever heard. And I remember the first time I heard it, it was just like, this song just has everything. And it's so clever. Like, not one word is wasted. Like, it's just everything has a meaning, has a point. It's just like, I don't know. It just is so rich with that. And that was something we really wanted to do. Like, just like not waste any words, like really put purpose behind it. And like, just kind of write the best we possibly could. We would comb over our lyrics several times to see if there's anything that we could improve on. But yeah, so Kevin Devine, big one for me. Let's see. I guess Beth's, again, Beth's lyrically also very clever, very fun, kind of lighthearted. I really just love how she writes and her melodies, everything. Again, Beth's A+, top tier band. Let's see.
And
What's
was that 2 or 3?
That's 2.
Is that 3?
Oh, I had one that like popped into my head for a second, then it left me. Okay, Soccer Mommy. We listen to a lot of Soccer Mommy.
Sure.
She writes great music and lyrics. There's really just like an endless list though of like songwriters that have inspired us lyrically. I think of like John K. Sampson from The Weaker Than. It's like
of course.
way up there.
I love with Soccer Mommy, she has like this kind of casualness in a way where she's really heartfelt but casual. It never feels forced. And I love that.
That is one thing, like Soccer Mommy especially, but y'all also do it as well, is everything kind of seems, even though like you said you comb over everything with like, and do it, rewrite if you have to, it still always feels like, just like it just came to you, you know what I mean?
Awesome, thank you. And sometimes it does, for some of these songs, like some of them, like the Bridge of Autonomy, literally I didn't know what to do, and then I woke up one morning and just like had it and just like sang it into my phone, and was, I don't know, that one was just like gifted to me. So sometimes that happens, and it's really nice when that happens.
Yeah, I think we definitely like tend to gravitate towards songwriters. I know you mentioned Courtney Barnett before,
sure.
But like I personally really love it when I'm listening to a song and it's stuff that like that person would actually say.
Yeah, that's kind of a rule with us personally.
Like a personal band rule we have.
Yeah, our own thing. Like if you wouldn't say it, we don't put it in there because it just has to be genuine. It has to be, that's just kind of our own thing.
Yeah, that's I think a big reason why I am drawn to y'all as a band, is because it does seem like you're not trying to be anyone besides yourselves.
Awesome. I'm glad that comes through.
Especially lyrically, and that's what I strive to do personally, and I know that's what I look for when I'm looking for an artist, is I don't want someone trying to do some convoluted like bullshit. I want to hear this artist.
Right. And
how they feel. And sometimes people are more convoluted. But especially in guitar music, especially in the DIY scene, it's not as convoluted.
Yeah.
Because people really just truly trying to express themselves. But you get a few people that aren't. Then you get people like y'all that just really nail it and make it so personal yet so accessible to everybody that's listening.
Oh, that's so good. I'm really glad. That's like all the things that we wish we're putting out there, and it's nice to hear that you see that and you hear that.
And so let's get into, do we want to talk gear, or do we want to get into the track by track breakdown?
Don't get Jeff started.
Oh yeah, we can talk about gear.
How many hours do you have?
Yeah, I can keep it brief if you want. And if I'm trailing on, just tell me.
No, please go on. This podcast is try to make it a one-stop shop to every question anyone would have about
very cool
anything. So, and if you think it's important, then like definitely say it. If
okay.
you think it's cool, let people know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what did the studio you recorded shoegaze
Shoegazing.
take two? What does the studio that you recorded stargazing look like? What was going on in there?
So we recorded Stargazing at Kyle Hoffer's house. Like, he lived in his studio. It's the place he recorded it, like the house that we recorded the studio or the record in, like, is now for sale. He got kicked out like at the end of June. He was renting, but he had lived there for like 2 years, right? 2 or 3 years, and he had like converted the front of room of the house into like kind of like a control room. And then he used his bedroom, which was like right off of that main room, as like an isolation booth. So like it felt pretty casual recording in a house. But Kyle had really like nice gear, nice preamps, like old amps.
Yeah, it was like high-tech stuff in a comfortable setting.
Exactly.
It did not sound like it was recorded in a house.
I know. And
Yeah.
In the
it's
slightest.
yeah.
He's a super pro. Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle has done other records that are all really good. He recorded the Camp Trash EP and LP. He did.
Okay.
Yeah, he did a record for like an EP for the band Snacking, which is like they're more of a Florida band, but they're some of like that EP sounds amazing.
So good. Yeah.
They were called Snacking.
Yeah.
Snacking. Yeah. I think the EP is called like Painted Gold.
Painted Gold, yeah.
Yeah, it's very good. Definitely have some Death Cab for Cutie vibes with them. Highly recommend.
But yeah, we've known Kyle for a long time, but hearing his work and like knowing him as a person made us really comfortable working with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what gear did you use at Kyle's house?
So most of the guitars were like all the loud, heavy guitars were tracked through like a 1980 Marshall JMP amp, and thing just had magic in it. It sounded amazing. And then we did the clean guitars through a Vox AC30. We used so there's this pedal by Electro Harmonics called the Crayon, and like that's kind of like my secret tone weapon on my board. It's just always on. It like I just do a little cueing with it, but it really shapes. That's pretty much my Gibson SG through that Crayon pedal is like my guitar sound.
What were some of your other? You had a bunch of.
There's some like weird chorusy new metal effects all over the record. I have a $20 Dan Electro Fab pedal that is a chorus pedal that's also a magic pedal. Like if you're ever on reverb.com and you want a chorus, search for the Fab chorus.
Is that the one that I actually got for free?
Yeah.
I had bought like, I don't know, for birthday or something. There was some like Dan Electro pedal I knew Jeff was looking at. And
that's the other thing. Side note is like I'll buy any cheap effects pedal. Like,
yeah, it's like
anything under $20. Like I want to know what it sounds like.
Yeah, so I had been talking to someone who was selling like these Dan Electro pedals on Reverb, and I was like, if you have anything else, like, and he's like, I actually have some that are kind of like trashier. I've got some that might be broken. He's like, I'll just send them to you if you want them. And I was like, absolutely yes. And one of the ones that he thought was broken was this Fab pedal. And so he just threw it in for free. It was so cool. And now like it ended up working.
They use it all the time. It's amazing.
Maybe it just works for Jeff. Maybe it's just like a magical pairing with Jeff. I don't know. But yeah, and it's all over the record and he loves it. So
Trina, what kind of bass do you play?
Right now I play a Fender Aerodyne. I still have my other bass, which I used to play all the time, which is like just a Fender, like, oh, Jeff dropped the phone. It's a Fender P bass, like a Tele bass, like the 53 reissue or something like that. But it's so heavy, like it's beautiful and it plays amazingly. And I love kind of the round sound of it, but it was just like destroying me carrying it around all the time. So now that bass kind of stays at home and is, I used it for recording. But now I use the Aerodyne for like playing shows. just because, I mean, it's so much lighter, and it's still like a really great sounding bass. So yeah, I'm luckily have that one. I'm still like really happy with that one.
Do y'all know what kind of drum kit was used on the album?
Oh,
It was a DW kit.
Yeah.
That's like Kyle's studio kit, and we used all of
Okay.
Kyle's like nice cymbals too.
Yeah.
All right.
And our other guitar player is huge into gear as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he also like, does a lot of guitar work and repairing guitars, and he's our personal guitar setup person now, which is
Yeah, Nick joined our band
Ooh.
like basically in the middle of recording Stargazing.
yeah.
He didn't play a ton on the record, but he wrote some like second guitar parts and stuff that are on the record, and he got to play, which was really cool. Even though he had only been in the band like a month or two.
Yeah, and it's just kind of, we just
Oh, yeah.
mesh so well, like musically and everything. And his like guitar setup and his pedal taste and everything just like really complements Jeff's so well that it's really just like a great pairing. He's the perfect person to play second guitar for us.
Great band member.
Yeah, dude,
Highly
either-
recommend it.
Yeah.
Either of you know his setup?
Yeah, he's a sweetheart also, so it's really nice having him.
Hell yeah. But do either of you know his setup?
So he plays mostly in our band. It's he has like a Squier Jazzmaster or Squier Jaguar that he like fixed up himself, and he usually uses a Fender Deluxe Reverb, and then his guitar tone. He has a huge pedal board.
There's a lot of pedals.
I'm trying to think of the one. Oh, I can't think of the
Don't look
name.
at me. This
Don't look
is
at you. Yeah, he has a Tumnus overdrive. I don't know who makes it. It's really cool sounding. And also one of the main pedals he uses is the MXR Green Day pedal. They made a
yeah.
Dookie Green Day pedal, so you get
Okay.
Billy Joe Armstrong's guitar tone in a box, kind of. And
Yeah.
he uses that a lot for the heavier stuff.
Doesn't he have like a Beatles White Album
Yeah,
pedal?
he also has this insane Beatles pedal that's supposed to get all the fuzz tones from the White Album.
Yeah.
It's pretty gnarly.
It's pretty gnarly.
I didn't even know they did that. I knew they make VSTs that do stuff like
Sure.
that. I didn't know they were making actual hardware.
Yeah. I don't even know. He collects weird one-off stuff too. So.
Yeah, he loves that stuff and like guitar. What is it? He loves offset guitars. Is that
Yeah.
the offset guitars are his thing. His guitars are all really cool right now. He plays that really neat purple one.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's got a pretty fun collection of stuff.
So now that we have gotten the gear questions out of the way, let's break into the tracks. So all the gearheads, make sure you can always, scroll back, and write those down if you have
Yeah.
need to search reverb yourself
Tweet at me.
to sound exactly like expert.
I love to
Yeah.
talk about gears.
Oh yeah, please tweet at Jeff about gear.
So if you didn't catch those, just tweet it down. So let's break into the breakdown.
Break into the breakdown.
Start with Special Hell. Might I say, fantastic choice for an opener.
Thank you.
That's really cool. I think Special Hell was the front runner for a single for a while.
Yeah.
And I really I think the thought behind it was it's definitely a good song that we really like, but I didn't want to put it as a single because I wanted the first song on the record to kind of be a surprise, when you go to play it.
Because
that was kind of the thinking about that. Yeah.
Catchy one. We wanted it to, someone to just put on the record and that's the first song and be like, whoa, this is fun. This is cool.
So I guess lyrically, Special Hell is kind of about just doing some facing hard truths about yourself, when you're trying to become a better person. I think when you're like actively working on bettering yourself, it's kind of just like about how difficult that work can be, but like how it's rewarding to be like true to yourself. I wrote it like the guitar riff. It started as the guitar riff, and I think it's the first song that came together for Stargazing.
I think it might be, yeah.
It's kind of hard to remember like when it kind of coalesced.
Like that one, it's like the first and the last, because I think Kick Rocks,
those two
were kind of like the first.
First two,
yeah. First and the last.
It's very interesting. Like we wrote it during, I think the summer of 2020. Keith had like reached out and was like, from Count Your Lucky Stars, and was like, I want you guys to make a full length. Do you have songs? Like, what do you think? And we definitely were like running headfirst into like, yeah, we'll make this record, but we're also in the middle of a pandemic, so we can't like hang out with our drummer at all.
It's complicated. Yeah.
So a lot of the record was like, what are the case numbers this week? Can Gabron come over if we play masked? Like, we had to ask a lot of questions like that. So I think the attitude of that song kind of also is kind of encapsulated with the like, you know, you're in your special hell, but you're like also kind of stuck dealing with yourself a lot because of the pandemic too. But
can relate that to my pandemic experience. Well, not the Band-Aid,
yes,
but adding on to the special hell.
Yeah, right.
So Super Ordinary Unimpressed. Tell me a lot about it.
Yeah.
A little bit, lot, whatever you want to do.
Super Ordinary Unimpressed is about imposter syndrome. So it's, you know, something I feel like a lot of artists, you know, musicians in general deal with, which is, you know, just kind of feeling like, you know, any success you have might be an accident, you know, you'll never be able to recreate it, or just like not necessarily trusting in your own talent and everything. So yeah, that's what that song is about. And just kind of like, you know, the worrying, I'm putting all this out and, oh no, people will say super ordinary, unimpressed. Like, this is just, you know, an accident which even some of these songs, I still feel that way, where like, even that song that I wrote, and I'm like, I love this song, but I'm like, would I be able to do something that good again? Is that the only time that came out of me? Like, the imposter syndrome is strong. Yeah, so I hope a lot of people relate to that. And then the bridge kind of goes into the inner workings of just like, you know, wishing, like, you know, dreaming of the day I'll finally earn the prize, like being able to just like sit in your success, or just like enjoy that a little bit more.
All right. And then that follows into Autonomy.
Yeah. Autonomy, that's kind of one of those songs that was gifted. I guess it's just, we had been talking, like Jeff and I, you know, through the pandemic, through all of this stuff, we had been just talking about, I mean, it makes you think about just like the universe in general, and just like really your place here, and what everything means, how much autonomy we do have in our lives, which I guess none of us really know. So that's just kind of exploring those questions, and you know, there's no answer to it. You know, people believe different things, but it's just putting that out there and just asking the questions. And I don't know, I do really love that song so much, because I feel like it's a fun song. It's like a fun song about like questioning one's own autonomy, I feel.
Yeah, it's a very fun, that's the way I feel about it, is a very fun song with a very big question.
Yeah, really. Exactly. I kind of love that.
And like that kind of question really became a theme for stargazing in general.
For the whole thing, yes. Our place in the universe, just the vastness of everything. As soon as you kind of zoom out and start like looking at things about the universe and the galaxy we're in, and like how Earth is in what they call like a cosmic void, where there's actually within space, like this, it's a relative desert compared to the rest of like areas of the greater universe. And that's just so like mind-blowing to think about, like the vastness of it all. So yeah, really went down that spiral for a while during the pandemic, and it just led us to this batch of songs.
There is kind of, you have a good setup from Special Held, Super Ordinary Unimpressed. Of kind, those two songs are more about like inner workings, and then you do start reaching to autonomy where it starts to branch out of like, it is an inner thing, but also you're thinking about everything else, all the outside factors as well.
Yeah.
Then we go into the bigger picture. We're really looking at the bigger picture. You do have this really good flow of these songs. That's one thing I noticed. I was like, this is a very thematic arrangement of these songs as well.
Cool.
Yeah, I do feel like it is like inner to outer and everything being connected. What is that movie called? Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Yeah.
That's like...
Which we didn't see until after...
True, we didn't see that till
we're done with the record, but definitely feel like these are like themes that are coming up in pop culture now.
Yeah, like multiverse stuff.
Yeah.
Just like, I don't know. Like, we really can't know the answers to any of this. It's just eternal frustration, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and like bigger picture was kind of, obviously about that whole same idea. Just like, wow, I feel very small right now. I feel very small in the bigger picture of things.
Yeah, it's definitely like balancing like how small, like 1 minute you feel so small and insignificant in the bigger picture of everything, but also like, but you do like your choices in your life and everything does matter and affects those around you. And it's just kind of like balancing those two things together. Pausing for some motorcyclists. But yeah, it's like balancing those two things together.
And then that moves into Life in Pictures, which tell me about that song.
Life in Pictures is just kind of like an internal monologue, just like a quiet song. Yeah, that one's kind of, it's just like, that one's really about my dad, but like, I wanted it to feel kind of quiet and just feel like you're in the room with me, and, or even within my thoughts and within my mind. But it like starts sad but ends hopeful, and some of that was due to Gabron's like percussion. Like the stuff he did at the end there was like genius. It was like more than I imagined. Like I'm so glad like he put all that together. Like it just lifts the song at the end and yet makes it hopeful instead of just like sad.
Yeah, it's a vignette of just like your experience.
Yeah.
And it's vague enough that anyone can relate to it, yet still personal enough that it's like, I feel like it was cathartic in some way to just like write this quiet song.
Yeah, and it was exactly that. It was cathartic.
And I'm noticing the theme is, so we're going from inner to outer, and then we get into just Katrina. It's like a little snapshot of just like back to back, your experience, one about just like life, and then we get to New Queen. Tell me about that.
Yeah, New Queen. Love that song so much. Jeff and I really worked on that together, and he was talking about like seeing the T-shirts where people have like the future is female, but like how just like throughout history, women have always been accomplishing things and always been these firsts that every day it's like, oh, there's the first woman doing something. It's like, well, there's always been women doing things. It's just the credit is never there. And it's like, we applaud and be like, yay, we let a woman do something. But it's like, just remembering like throughout history, like the achievements have always been there. It's like, but the credit hasn't been. because, you know, women have just had to stand behind men, you know, and especially when you're talking about like in science and math and things like that. But so New Queen is kind of about that. It's like the verses, it's like part of it's like a conversation with someone like from the past, and then the other one is like as if I am the person. So it's like, yeah, wish I could picture what it's like at the top, you know, respect and admired you, New Queen. It's just like what it would be like to have that recognition, you know, like if you're someone from, you know, hundreds of years ago who has been doing amazing things, but just like their thoughts of what it would be like to actually see the spotlight for the things they've done instead of having to like pass it off to some man who will, his name will be in the history books, you know, instead of hers.
Yeah. And I do have to say the instrumentation on that song is badass. And so it really makes the whole track even just like, because the first time I listened to it, I'm like, I asked you what it's about because, you know, you're the guest on the podcast. This isn't my thoughts entirely, you know. It's very clear what that song's about.
Good.
And the fact that, you know, every instrument is just like, the tones are great, and it's just got this badass feel, while still having that, like, with the hook especially, of like this almost like a taunt. It feels like, the way you say like New Queen, it feels like, you know, you're taunting, you know, the patriarchy.
Yeah.
And it's just really badass. It really is.
Thank you. And yeah, Jeff's guitar, like that like little solo in the beginning of the song is maybe my favorite guitar sound like of the whole record. Like I love it so much.
And then we move into Katrina, you being a badass, to short and sweet. Of did y'all write that together, or did you just write that yourself?
That's a great question. I'm sure I know we like pined over it. The chorus in that song was completely different for a minute.
I mean, every song we go like no song gets through without the other one being like, yeah, I love it. Like
who conceptualized it?
Probably.
I think I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I probably wrote the first verse, which changed a little, but I probably started out with that. I think that was one of the songs that maybe I like threw together really quick.
Yeah, I think you had a lot of it, and then we kind of ended up going back and like combing through and changing stuff.
Yeah, but it turned out really nice.
The end was like, well, yeah, the last part we kind of wrote, and then we were like, yes, this is what we wanted the song to be finally.
Yeah, when the lyrics to the end were finished, we were like, oh, cool. We wrote like a cutesy song.
Well, it's like, you know, Kevin Devine is a person who like, you know, is able to write about like, you know, like a love song or something like that, but it's not cheesy. It's just like, that's kind of something that like, we're never going to write just like a love song that's cheesy and just like, I don't know, makes us cringe. So like, I feel like this is kind of an appreciation song for each other, but like not cheesy, just like in our own way. And I hope other people like, can relate to it and feel that too. But
it fits, you know, thematically with, you know, your other songs, you know, before it, you know, where you're questioning, you know, your place in what's the exact word in the chorus?
The cosmic void.
Yeah.
Cosmic void.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, we were able to incorporate that. Like that's another thing that really tied that song together.
Yeah.
Just like, because we had the idea of the cosmic void as a concept, and we had talked about it a lot while we were writing the record, but like, and it's, to find a spot to like name drop the cosmic void was a little difficult, but.
And it's true because like, you know, when you are thinking about all these grander concepts of like where we came from, but it's your relationships that kind of can tether you in those moments, you know? So it's like, you know, whether it's friends or your partner or whatever it is, that like love and that connection that kind of is just so important when you can feel so insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but you have this like connection with somebody. Like that's kind of what that's about.
Genuinely like brings tears to my eyes. It's really like, it's, cause it's like, and especially when you like, I personally relate it to myself. And I'm like, but so as like a listener, before y'all explained, that short and sweet following New Queen, it just seems like it is, Katrina being a badass, and then Jeff, you just being like, love her.
Oh yeah,
Next track, like, love her.
I do.
Yeah, it's like,
It's true. That's really cool.
and then Hey Friend. Tell me about Hey Friend.
Hey Friend, I think that was another song that kind of just like quickly came together. Maybe because I was like exercising those muscles of like really writing songs and like writing these complete lyrics kind of for the first time. Maybe it's just like that's why it happened quicker. But I wanted to write kind of a story song, like the way like Fountains of Wayne, like some of their records, like the way they do so well, or of course, like John K. Samson or something. But I don't know, and it's kind of like an uplifting one. But it just came together quickly, but I love it so much. And yeah, it does have like the sense of community, I guess, where it's like, the story of like being able to like tell someone and share with someone, whether they're having a hard time or whatever, just like, hey, like we're in this together. We're all coming from the same place. We're all trying to figure it out in this world. It's okay.
That is another one that I feel like it fits into the theme very well of giving you like some comfort, especially, we're 8 tracks in. You've gone through the ups and downs of, your internal struggles, your existential struggles with the, forces that be, the bigger picture, struggles with misogyny and the patriarchy. Then you get this, the brief break and short and sweet. And then if that didn't, make you feel any better, you got Hey Friend there to, try to lift you up a little bit more.
Yeah. And again, just remembering it's about the connections, we make with people. Like that's a really important part of our lives and maybe our purpose,
Absolutely. And then Homesick Hearts. Tell me about that.
So Homesick Hearts comes from that. We did a demo from that split with Dikembe and Prince Daddy and Henrietta way back. It's one of the first songs we ever recorded. It's the first time like Gabron ever played drums for our project. For the first like 6 months of our band, we had a different drummer. But when we got offered that split and Gabron had just started like being around and we just started playing with him, we had him record this like in a practice space, like the drums to that. So we had like a demo version that got on that split. But we have been playing that song now for like 5 years probably.
Yeah, it has evolved.
And it evolved so much that we wanted to include it in the record. So that's why it's on here.
Yeah, it's just like kind of a new version and also like Expert Timing 2.0 where we have, Nick in the band. So like there's guitar, that was some of the guitar parts he wrote and like really contributed. He played on Homesick Hearts.
Yeah. And the lyrics didn't change much from the demo to the final. I don't think at all.
Yeah.
But it had always been just like a song that had always gone really well at live shows.
And we love it. We love playing it. And we wanted to kind of like just give it a glow up, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that. Now that after you told me that, I was like, oh, that is on that split, isn't it?
Yeah. Sounds very different though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it didn't sound like exactly like it, so it didn't hit right away. But now that you're saying it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's on there. I love that. That is something I think a lot of bands should do, especially with the songs, like their older songs that they just love. If you're playing it a lot, it definitely is blown up. Like
for sure,
it's because it grows with you.
Yeah, and there's stuff we figured out like together as a band, and like playing with Gabron, like a lot of dynamics.
And this is funny because I just realized this too, but Dikembe did the same thing. I'm just like realizing this. So from that split, there's a song that Dikembe played on that split called Living in the Walls.
Oh, yeah.
And then they redid it for their last record.
That's right.
Oh my God.
Look at that. That's Living in the Walls is one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Theirs. Like, so good.
Wow, that's some cosmic coincidence. It's a happy coincidence.
Right?
Yeah.
Look, it's all
It's not an
connected.
accident. It's all connected.
Shout out
It's
Happy
just
Accidents.
like Lost.
Yeah, shout out the UK band, our friends, Happy Accidents. Also a very good band.
Katrina, now that I know that you worked in a ballet company, does that have anything to do with I Can See You Dancing?
Oh, yes. That song, again, cathartic, about my journey and disillusion, if you will, with something I had worked my entire life for, and like was my being, it was my personality, it was everything. And then having to like figure out like, oh God, like what am I without this? It's, it was a tough journey to do in my early 20s. So yeah, that's, but still I would do it all again. Like that's kind of the point of it though. I would still, if I could do it over, I would, because it's still like, that time meant so much to me still.
Absolutely. And those are the experiences that form you
Exactly.
in your early 20s.
And I hope like even though other people, my path of like becoming a professional ballerina is not like that common, but I feel like other people hopefully can relate to just like, if you've been doing something and like whatever it is, if you're in sports or, people had their hopes on you becoming, the next big pro basketball player or whatever the heck it is, and something within you changes, it's the trying to deal with, the disappointment of other people of that not happening and just like rerouting your life, but like doing it because it's just who you're evolving to be. Like it's just needing to follow a new path. Like I hope that resonates.
When I listen to things, it's always try to relate it to myself. By the time like I get to the second or third listen, I'm like, well, how does this song relate to me? Because I've listened to it the first time to see if it's good. Listen to the whole record. I'm like, oh, this is good. Gonna listen to it again, and then you start to see how these songs can relate to you, and because that's what makes a song last. If I can use that song to, I don't know, understand my own experience better.
Right.
And that's definitely, even without your explanation, there is that feeling of it's like, I can see you dancing. They said that you're great, right? That's the line?
Yeah, they said you were good. Yeah.
They said you were good. Even that, like, any person who is in the limelight, especially in a, like, more niche thing, where other people, like, they might not get it either.
Yeah.
So they don't get, like, the pressure you have.
Yeah,
because they'll never understand that experience.
Like the pressure of talent or whatever. I kind of always say, like, I think talent is a myth in a way where it's just like, sure, you can be born to be like, predisposed to certain attributes that might make you better at something, but like you really, if you have a passion for something, you can learn and you can grow and you can get good at something. And I think the pressure of talent that people put on others or, even on kids or whatever, like it can be a lot. And it can lead you down a road that, maybe you wouldn't go down, or maybe you would, but it would be different. Like it's just a lot I've thought about.
And then we get into the last track, which was your most recent single, right?
Yes.
Kick Rocks. Tell me about Kick Rocks.
Kick Rocks. It's really about like my fear of heights. It was Jeff and I had gone to St. Augustine, and there's this lighthouse there. And for whatever reason, we were like, yeah, let's go to the top of it. Like, it's a beautiful view. It's a thing people do. And I don't know, I didn't think it would be an issue. And as soon as I start like really climbing those stairs, which the stairs inside of the thing, they're like wire, or like they have holes through them so you can look down through the stairs. So as you're going higher, like it's a real nightmare. Ooh. Yeah. And so I'm going and I'm just like starting to sweat. By the time I got to the top, I was just like glued to the side, and it's so windy. And I don't know, I think it just really brought my fear of heights, like, oh no, this is something I really definitely have. This is really terrifying. I hate this. And then for whatever reason, that just kind of turned into the song. Yeah, do you remember anything
Damn.
different, Jeff? Because I know, I mean, this one, of course, you helped work on too, just like everything. Like drafts are run by each other.
Yeah. No, I remember when you were terrified of being on the
You
top
have
of
pictures
yeah.
of me.
Yeah, there's a video of Katrina at the top of the lighthouse, like
There's
hugging the lighthouse, like,
trying to smile, but just like,
and there's like a railing and stuff.
oh, but it's not high enough, and it's just like there's not enough.
And then we had,
Railings aren't shit.
Yeah.
and then we had to go back down. I think that was maybe the worst part for you.
Yeah, it was awful. But I do really like the beginning lyrics of that are some of my favorite, of just like, because it ties in again to the whole theme of like every star will fall eventually. I'm looking for a part of me that's not afraid to fall. Like I like the way that we were able to tie in kind of, you know, the grander universe of it with also my personal fears.
Well, damn. Way to go, y'all. We did
We
it.
did it.
We got through the track by track breakdown.
Yeah.
So that is going to be out again the 23rd. Stargazing. Do you have any closing thoughts on stargazing as a whole?
We really, I mean, of course, we poured our heart and soul into this. We love this record so much. We just, you know, we hope other people can love it too and relate to it, and just, you know, brings them some happiness.
Exactly.
And just looking at the basic questions, seeing if I can ask anything else about the record. No more questions about the record. Let's talk a little bit about what does life outside of music look like for the both of you.
Yeah. So my job is I work at a hospital in Orlando, and I do a lot of conferencing stuff. Like, so I was an AV tech for like 10 years, and now like I'm working in like project management. so like my day job is, you know, I'm like trying to help people set up conferencing software and like video collaboration and stuff like that. So yeah, I've like a pretty.
You got to do some really cool stuff recently, though, where you like, they were like televising like surgeries, basically.
Yeah, they do so for like education purposes, there's like a whole like endoscopy lab where they like can video conference all over the world and stuff. So like that's basically when I'm not writing music. I'm like dealing with doctors trying to video conference each other
during surgery.
during surgeries.
Yeah. And I think I mentioned before, I'm an illustrator, like a freelance illustrator. I do some graphic design as well, but illustration is really my passion. I have
Hell yeah.
also like an Etsy shop where I do like pattern design, like for stationery goods. Like I sell notebooks and a bunch of little things that I make. Lots of bright colors and cute designs and things that make me happy.
That's excellent. And give us the link. How can we find your products? How can I shop your wares? How can the listeners shop your wares?
My Etsy shop, it's Pretty Prismatic Art. That's on Etsy, and I'm actually if you're going to Fest, I'm actually gonna be selling at the Fest Marketplace. It's gonna be my first time selling anywhere in person. So that'll be really fun. So I've been trying to set up and make a whole bunch of things, like a one-person factory in this house.
Notebooks everywhere.
Oh, you'll see. There's like paper corners all over the freaking place in our house. Where because I round the corners of like the paper, and you just find paper corners just littered everywhere. But yeah, so if you're coming to Fest, make sure to stop by the marketplace and come see me.
Oh yeah. So I usually ask 3 pieces of media. We are But we are at only an hour 20. So before we talk three pieces of media, let's talk three local acts y'all would recommend everyone checking out.
Oh yeah. Okay. So definitely check out Woolbright. We love Woolbright.
Yeah, and local, we're saying kind of general
yeah.
Florida
Yeah.
because, again, it's all kind of one scene. But yeah, Woolbright from South Florida, they're just so very good.
Yeah, we've been playing with Woolbright for probably as long as we've been a band. They've been around too.
Yeah.
And so they're just an amazing group of people and band. I feel like the ones that are really popping out of me are the ones that, like the people we just played a show with, like last weekend. So
It was like a roundup of Florida bands.
it was like a
like
roundup
perfect.
of Florida bands, yeah. But and then on top of that, there's just so many bands like we're not going to be able to mention. But
If you want to actually just like go down,
do like
the
a
list,
super list. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So Florida bands that are awesome. We have Woolbright. Start with Woolbright. We'll tell you about Glaze. They're a really cool pop punk band and just general sweethearts.
So good.
And so
Also,
good. Yeah.
Vocals, yeah, Chef's Kiss. Justin's voice is amazing. Very tight band.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another band from Jacksonville. Should check out is Guilt. Guilt is really wonderful. They're like theatrical hardcore band, really. And they're just like a brilliant group of people. So next I would talk about, there's this really kind of wild alt metal band from Orlando called Flagman. They kind of sound like Primus.
Yeah.
So,
okay,
and they're also playing Fest. So if you're at Fest, they're definitely someone to check out if you want to see something weird.
Our friends from Gainesville, Sports Reference.
Sports Reference.
We saw like two bands for the first time at that warm-up show that were
oh, right.
really good.
Rug.
Rug, yeah, spelled like RUGH.
Yep.
Yeah, they were really cool. And then Evening Standards was the other one.
And I think they're from like St. Augustine or Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think so. And I had never heard of them, and I listened to like what they had online. I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then live, like their harmonies, like immediately we were like, what is that I hear? Beautiful harmonies? Yes. Our ears like prick up. And yeah, so they were really good. Let's see, who else?
Palomino Blonde.
Palomino Blonde, yeah, also from South Florida. They're killing it. Everyone already knows Dikembe. Everyone knows them.
If you know us, you probably know Dikembe.
Yeah.
But they're still amazing. Definitely check them out.
yeah.
Did I say Sports Reference? Did I
Yep.
say them?
Yep. It's a band from Gainesville called Articles. That's really cool.
Articles, yeah.
U Vandal. We played shows with U Vandal for years.
Yeah, they're like a fest.
Fest mainstay.
Yeah, a fest mainstay for sure. Let me see. Who else?
Oh, Gutless is from Florida.
Gutless. Gainesville, right?
V lives in Brooklyn now.
V's in Brooklyn, yeah.
But they're interspersed around Florida and New York.
Thrin, I believe, is back in Florida. Winded is Thrin's project. So, like, such beautiful music. The first time we saw Thrin, we were just captivated. So that's definitely something to check out. And we're going to forget people. It's so hard. Like, there's so much good music and good bands in the world. It's just like there's a never-ending stream of amazing music to listen to.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess if you're listening to this, you probably know to go see whatever bands are in your town. But, like, guaranteed, there's people making art. If people are making art, there's stuff we're checking out, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Like, go to a random show in your town, see who's playing. Maybe you'll discover your new favorite. You never know.
If you're in Ipsy, come see me. I don't have a show booked yet, but I'll be around again.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
If you forgot anybody, just quote tweet when I post the episode. Anyone you feel like, I should have shouted them out.
Very good.
Yeah.
So let's get into the final question. So I'm gonna actually ask both of you to give me 2 pieces of media you'd recommend to your fans.
Okay. I'm going to go with, let's see, a show that we watched recently that was really, really good was Sandman, Neil Gaiman story. It was just a really fun watch, really cool. And then kind of piggybacking on that, I'm going to say reading one of Neil Gaiman's books. The Graveyard Book is one that I really liked. It just has a style of writing that is very unique, easy to read, but like fun and just also just really thoughtful. I really enjoy his books and stuff a lot.
And I would have to say you should check out the Cheem record Guilty Pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
Because that just came
Ooh,
out.
shout out Sam Naz.
Yeah. Yeah, Sam's so cool. But yeah, that record is awesome. And the other thing, oh man.
You gotta have two.
I gotta have 2. What's something that I like?
I know the show that you liked. We were talking about this earlier.
No, I don't want to say it. I want a different thing. I want a better thing.
It's a good show. It's so tricky. It's like in these times, especially like, these weird years of pandemic where you just like consume so much media where it's like just becomes jumbled.
Okay, I'm going to say the TV show Search Party on HBO.
Oh, that's a good
Max. One. It's like 5 seasons and it's bonkers if you want to watch something bonkers.
Yeah, maybe from Arrested Development.
Yeah.
Forgetting their name, but yeah, it's the main person in that. It's very good.
Okay. All right.
Hey, you did it. You dug into your brain. You got another one. It's hard.
I set the bar high.
And that means you two have passed. You're now officially lab-grown alumni.
Hell yeah.
You've made it through the podcast.
All right. I expect my certificate in the mail.
It's digital.
That's fine. We'll print it ourselves.
I will accept it.
I think I might actually start making like a certificate.
I think it's a good idea.
Mailing it out to people.
Oh yeah, do it, please.
And like you can print it out and put it on your wall. That'd be great.
Yeah.
But any closing thoughts from either of you?
I just I really hope Stargazing's coming out soon, and it's just like it's project spent a lot of time on it, and just we're really glad that it's going to be existing outside of ourselves soon for other people to hopefully enjoy and interpret in their own ways.
Just basically thanks for listening and for taking the time to talk to us.
Anyone who cares about our band at all, thank you so much.
Yeah.
It means a lot because there is a lot of good music out there.
Yeah, and y'all make some of it. Not that y'all make all your music is good, but you create some of the good music there is.
Good, I appreciate it. Glad to be.
There we go.
Glad to be part of it.
There we go. All right, so we can hit stop right about